Hi, my name's Aaron, and the title of my project is SOS, which is an acronym for Sound on Sound. Now, when you hit a drum or make a sound in a room that has a lot of carpet, what does it sound like? Does it sound condensed? What about if you hit a drum in a room with a lot of hardwood floor or maybe a concrete floor? Does it sound more echoey? Does it run on longer? Does it sound bigger? This effect on sound is called ambience, and ambience is the certain properties of the sound in the surrounding area or atmosphere. Now I wanted to test the effects of ambience, and I wanted to see what things will make a sound more ambient, such as material or room size. So my problem was, which materials, carpet, wood, or concrete, will make a more ambient sound? A second question I had was, which room sizes, such as a big room or a small room, will make a sound more ambient? My first hypothesis was that harder materials such as concrete and hardwood would make more ambient sounds than softer materials such as carpet. My second hypothesis was that a larger room will make a more ambient sound than a smaller room would. So to begin this experiment, I used a cell phone to record the following sounds: a snare drum, hand claps, pots and pans banging together, a bin of Legos shaking up and down, an amplified hand clap sound, and I made an amplified hand clap sound by recording just a regular hand clap, and I made it a lot louder so that I could tell the difference in ambience a lot more. And I even used a toy lightsaber. Even these things can be used to test ambience. I recorded these sounds into 3 different material rooms: wood, concrete, and hardwood floors. I also recorded how big the room was and the distance of the phone to the object I was recording. And every time I did it, the distance of the phone was about 1.8 meters away from me when I was recording these sounds. I also had the chance to record in a small room one time with a snare drum, and that would allow me to show the results for my second hypothesis, where smaller rooms will make less ambient sounds than larger rooms. Every time I finished recording a sound, I took the sounds from the phone and moved them to the computer, and I used an audio editing software to shorten the sounds. And on the audio editing software, I could even visibly see the sound waves. So I used those pictures to graph the sounds so that you can clearly see the sound waves on the graph. In the end, my results were clear and they were easy to see. For example, the first sound that I recorded was the snare drum. And today I brought in my computer to play for you these sounds. So the first sound we have is a snare drum in a concrete room, or a room with concrete floor. And as you can see, you can kind of hear an echoey sound, and you can see that it runs on for a little bit. The next one we have is a snare drum in a hardwood room floor, with a hardwood floor. It's pretty much the same as the concrete, but maybe the pitch is a little bit different. But generally the ambience is the same. And last, we have a carpet floor. And you may be able to tell that that sounds very condensed compared to the other two. But it is a little bit hard to tell just by listening to the sounds if they're ambient or not. It's hard to tell which is the most ambient and which is the least ambient. So, but whenever I use the program, when you see the sound visibly, as I have on this graph right here, you can clearly see that the hardwood floor is the longest. And since it's the longest, the ambience ran out the longest in that sound. And the carpet is the least longest, which shows that the ambience was the least amount in the carpet. So when you visibly see the sound, you can really see which is more ambient, which is less, a lot easier. So in the end, both of my hypotheses, they were both correct. The first one was correct, where harder materials will make more ambient sounds than softer materials. And my second hypothesis was correct because the smaller rooms, and when I recorded the smaller room, it clearly sounded less ambient than the larger room. So both of them in the end were correct. Now, how could you use these results? Well, I think that these results would be a great way if an individual wanted to create a sound room. They're going to need to figure out, well, which sounds will make, or which materials and sizes will make more or less ambient sounds. For example, if somebody wanted a very ambient sound recorded in a sound room, then you would want big rooms and you would want hard materials such as hardwood and concrete. Or If somebody wanted sounds to not sound as ambient and they want to be less ambient sounds, try using smaller rooms and softer materials such as carpet. In the end, overall, this experiment shows that softer materials will make less ambient sounds than harder materials, and the room sizes, if they're smaller, will make less ambient sounds than the larger rooms. Thank you.